Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Let's go ahead and bust a little bit of FUD today. Take a look at the article on your screen right now. It's from A&B Crypto titled, Litecoin's Charlie Lee says Ripple uses the fake it until you make it strategy. And he also, in this piece, references a price surge model that Ripple implemented. And I'll get into those specifics. It's ridiculous. We're calling this out. So I'm going to run through that. I've got an interesting document from David Schwartz in this video. You will find this fascinating, which has to do with the distribution of XRP upon its creation. Back in 2012, this document was signed. So I hadn't seen it before, and David Schwartz shared it, and it is public document. I just hadn't seen this particular one, and so I read through it and want to share it with you. So I'll do that, and then the last thing I'm going to cover in this video, it's a piece from CoinDesk I found fascinating, unrelated to XRP, which is why I'm saving it for the end in case people are not interested. After all, this is an XRP-centric channel. Anyway, this is titled, No Argument for Replacing Dollar's Global Role with Crypto, ex-Fed official says. Now, before we get going, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, go on ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, where we talk about XRP every day. So into this first piece here, the price of XRP plummeted by 11.23% in the last 24 hours, further pushing the price of the coin to a yearly low of 23.89 cents, with a market cap of $10.27 billion. XRP stands third on CoinMarketCap's list with a trading volume of only $2.32 billion. Why is he saying only $2.32 billion? It's third in market cap. Gee, all right. Anyway, several prominent people from the crypto community have highlighted that XRP is currently undergoing hyperinflation. In a recent episode of Charlie Shrem's Untold Stories podcast, Litecoin's Charlie Lee was seen addressing the same. Lee pointed out that Ripple had been shunning rumors that they had printed 100 billion coins for themselves initially, and argued that someone else printed them. However, Shrem revealed that they were offering him millions of dollars worth of XRP if he had agreed to have added Ripple to Bit Instant. Additionally, Shrem responded to them via mail suggesting that, quote, I don't think Ripple has any feasibility. I'm not taking your bribe. Have a nice day. Man, what a prick. So I guess Charlie Shrem, he's everyone's favorite Bitcoin felon, isn't he? He is indeed a felon. Anyway, furthermore, Lee went on to say that Ripple was on a mission to change history by insisting that they didn't create the coins. He believes that the company is suggesting that Jed McCaleb individually created the coins and then donated it to Ripple. Recently, 100 million XRP was transferred from Ripple to the company's former CTO, Jed McCaleb. Irrespective of the story that Ripple is trying to tell, it is quite evident that 100 billion was created out of thin air and was used to bribe people or give away the coins Charlie Lee added. So I like this quote. It's from David Schwartz, and I'm going to have to sort of paraphrase it. I don't know that I'll get it spot on. But when it comes to the concept of XRP being created out of thin air, here of course it was created out of thin air. Cryptocurrencies do not exist in nature. Of course they're created. What kind of argument is that? It's just the words used in such a sentence like that. It's just to add a negative connotation. Oh, just out of thin air. There's no real value to it whatsoever, which is completely bogus. The reason XRP has value is thanks to open markets, thanks to people choosing to value and buy and sell XRP on cryptocurrency exchanges. So that whole argument, to me, is always going to be nonsensical and bogus. And then the piece continues here. Additionally, Lee spoke about Ripple's firm position on CoinMarketCap's list. He believes that Ripple used the, quote, fake it until you make it strategy, as they would claim that they were using XRP and enter into partnerships. This marketing strategy would help surge the price of XRP, and Ripple would again sell XRP every year in order to fund their company, Lee stated. So this is completely bogus, right, of course. Yes, XRP is indeed used to fund Ripple to whatever degree, and they make sure that they responsibly sell XRP at a very low percentage in terms of overall volume because they don't want to crater the market. They're the largest stakeholder in XRP, so don't you think that it would be reasonable for them and rather savvy them to make sure that they're doing everything they can to foster a healthy XRP ecosystem. Yes, and they are. That is what Ripple's doing. It's, oh man, this is just some bizarre stuff here. And then you talk about trying to bribe people. Well, look, as far as it goes with trying to get XRP or any cryptocurrency listed on an exchange, it is commonplace to offer, especially the earliest, think about 2017 even, with all the ICOs, it was very commonplace for there to be very high fees and crazy offers made. Now, when we're talking about what Charlie Shrim was referencing here, I mean, they didn't put a date on this, but this must have been very super early days, because you're talking about BitInstant, and so, what would this have been, 2013 maybe, I'm guessing? Well... come on, like it's not like it's a bribe. It's paying to have something added to an exchange, if that's the case. So the way in which it's being framed is just unfair. It's completely unfair. And then check this out. So in a reaction to the article, David Schwartz took to Twitter to set the record straight regarding XRP's creation. And so I'm going to pull up the actual Twitter thread right here. And so, fellow XRP YouTuber Sam I Am, who on Twitter is @HamEggsInSam, very interesting name indeed, he writes, hey, @Mark Prestwood. So that's Mark Prestwood. He's the one that wrote the article that I just cited there, right? There's no mystery to how the XRP were created. OpenCoin pre-mined them and gifted them to Ripple Labs. Did you not know this, or were you just trying to create drama with your article? Can you name people claiming XRP is hyperinflating? And indeed, this hyperinflation claim, where does that stem from? I must wonder as well. A couple things on this, though. The second sentence from Sam here, they wrote, OpenCoin pre-mined them and gifted them to Ripple Labs. Well, that's not true. The pre-mine part, there was no mining with XRP. They were just all created at inception. And so maybe that's just a pet peeve of mine. But by the way, my dog is named Peeve, so that's also my pet peeve. I'm silly. Anyway, so OpenCoin pre-mined them, so maybe I'm just being particular, but some people like to state that, but it's just literally incorrect. So, and then here's something where you're going to have to tell me. I didn't have time to do any additional research, but everything that I have ever read states that XRP was created. Then, after it was created, OpenCoin was created, and that XRP was gifted to OpenCoin. OpenCoin was then renamed Ripple Labs. Then Ripple Labs got a DBA so that they're doing business. That means doing business as Ripple. So they're still technically, the business entity is Ripple Labs, but they go by the shorter name just Ripple now. That's what my understanding was. And so here we're stating that OpenCoin, which my understanding is that is Ripple. If I'm way off base, please, legitimately, I want to know, because that way I could stop being wrong. But this was completely my understanding. So if Sam knows something and I'm just wrong, happy to admit it. I want to get what's right out there. But I have never heard this before. That because what you're saying here, if I'm right and OpenCoin is Ripple, that would mean that Ripple created XRP. So maybe there's some sort of disconnect. If I'm missing something, let me know. But everything I've ever read says, again, XRP was created, then OpenCoin was created, then OpenCoin became Ripple Labs, and then it became Ripple. That was my complete understanding. But again, if I am indeed wrong, then I would like to report upon that in a future video and clear this up. I try to educate myself the best I can, but I'm also a human, so I can make mistakes and this and that. So, but I'm always happy to, I have no ego. I'm happy to set the record straight if I'm ever wrong about stuff. So anyway, there's that. And then, so in response to that, David Schwartz, Ripple CTO and co-creator of the XRP Ledger, responded with this, and he writes, it's a matter of public record that Chris, Jed, and Arthur founded the ledger and asset at that time called Ripple. So, again, XRP, David Schwartz is saying, at the time, what we call XRP today was then called Ripple. That's what he's saying. And he said, again, it was founded the ledger. Let me just start there. It's a matter of public record that Chris, Jed, and Arthur founded the ledger and asset at that time called Ripple before the company existed and agreed to give XRP to the company. 5 minutes with a search engine would find the documents. Okay, in rereading David Schwartz, I did read this real quick before the video, so I think David's saying what my understanding was all along, is that the cryptocurrency, then known as Ripple, now known as XRP, was created prior to the company. So I think I was right on that. Okay. Which is good, because I swear I feel like I'm bonkers if I were wrong on that, because I feel like I've read that in a bazillion places, and as far as I know, it's not disputed. But anyway, here we go. So check this document. I've never seen this. So this is from September 17th of 2012. And it's kind of hard to read, so I read it one time before recording the video. Let me try and get through this, because it's kind of like blurry and fuzzy looking. But anyway, agreement with Arthur Brito, and again, one of the creators of the XRP Ledger, September 17th, 2012. Chris Larsen, Jed McCaleb, and Arthur Brito, the founders, whom developed a distributed open source software platform for making and receiving payments in virtual currency Ripple, hereby agree, as of the date first written above, the effective date as follows. Number 1. There's 3 points here. So number 1. The founders agree that 80% of all Ripple credits shall be allocated to the company, as determined by the percentage share of all existing credits set forth in the ledger created, approved, and adopted by the majority of founders as the official ledger. So that's point number 1. And I gotta say, it's really weird for me reading through this and saying Ripple and knowing that it's actually accurately being used to identify what today is XRP, because I'm very good about that. It would be like a serious slip-up if I ever say Ripple when I mean XRP, or XRP when I mean Ripple. I'm very good about that. It would be like a super rare instance, but here, I'm allowed to do it. So here you go. Point number 2, the founders further agree that Arthur Brito shall receive 2% of all the Ripple credits of the official ledger. The founders acknowledge that these credits have no value as of the effective date, and that any compensation for work performed by Arthur Brito is provided in a separate consulting agreement with OpenCoin Incorporated. It is anticipated that a total of 100 billion credits shall be recorded on the official ledger. If the official ledger is revised, or any other ledger is created within 36 months of the date of this agreement, that sets forth a lesser percentage of credits for Brito than the number set forth in the official ledger. Brito shall have the right to acquire additional credits at no cost to him, sufficient to bring his credit grant to 2% of the total number of credits. Now, having read this a second time, I'm actually wondering, because look here, so look, the founders acknowledge that the credits have no value as of the effective date, and that any compensation for work performed by Arthur Brito is provided in a separate consulting agreement with OpenCoin Incorporated. So that made me start to second guess myself, but presumably, despite the timing of this document being written in OpenCoin, if I'm reading this right, that means that XRP, then known as Ripple, was created, and then this agreement was written after that. It's like this agreement clearly was written after OpenCoin existed. So if I'm completely reading this wrong, somebody please, I feel like I took some crazy pills today or something. If I'm missing something, please, drop a comment below. I want to get this right. All right, and then point 3, the founders further agree that the Ripple platform will be made available for distribution and licensed under a permissive open source license as soon as operationally optimal. It is agreed that Brito shall consent to open source his contributions to the Ripple platform at the same time that all other Ripple founders do the same. In exchange for signing to the company his IP rights in Ripple, Brito shall have a lifetime, fully paid up license to develop apps or new functionalities on the Ripple platform. Which is funny now, because the way that they wrap that up, it's like, XRP is now rather decentralized. Any developer can build on top anyway, so unless there's some other meaning behind a lifetime, fully paid up license to develop on the XRP ledger, which then again was known as Ripple, I'm like, what the hell does that mean? You can just do that anyway, right? So I don't know. So check out this tweet now on this topic. So this is from Lionel on Twitter. All right, Charlie Lee, again, that's the creator of Litecoin, has no credibility in the crypto space. Evidence below. He had no faith in Litecoin, and he created it. He created it and sold all his holdings while telling people to keep buying. If this was regulated, he would be in prison now. Okay, and so here's a tweet. This is from C3 Nick, so that was a retweet from Lionel. So check this out now. And here indeed are the actual tweets, and I can't remember if I've ever talked about this on this channel. Probably not, because it's an XRP channel. But indeed, this is true stuff here. So check this out. Here's a tweet from December 8th, 2017. And Charlie Lee, creator of Litecoin, tweets out, "Huddle on for dear life. This is what a rocket ship to the moon feels like." So again, that was December 8th, 2017. Now here's a tweet, January 16th, 2018. Another tweet from Charlie Lee. To those that claim that I sold at the all-time high, I actually did not. I sold on 3 separate times. On December 8th at $96. And by the way, that's the date of the tweet where he said, hodl on for dear life, hodl your Litecoin. So he sold it for $96 that day. Then on December 11th, sold at $155. And then he says on December 18th, he sold at $350. The average price that I got was $205, he says. It's nobody's business at what price I sold my LTC, that's Litecoin, but I got tired of all the sold at all-time high hate. So he bailed out of his own project. There you go. And his rationale was something along the lines of he feels like he'd be taken more seriously or something to that effect if people didn't think that he had some sort of monetary stake in it any longer. It seemed like a totally disingenuous reason. I think he just wanted to cash out. That's what it sure sounds like to me. There's nothing wrong with having a vested interest in something that you're working on. So to me, it just seems disingenuous. That's just tough to believe. And so I just think it's kind of rich that, given his history, the things that he had to say about Ripple and XRP, it's ridiculous. Where does all this hate come from, man? I'm telling you, maximalist. It's totally crazy. All right, let's hop into the next piece here. This is from CoinDesk. No argument for replacing dollar's global role with crypto, says ex-Fed official. A former official from the U.S. Federal Reserve has responded to a proposal from the chief of the Bank of England that a cryptocurrency could be more beneficial in international markets than the U.S. dollar. Bloomberg wrote on Wednesday that the governor of the British Central Bank had argued last month that a Libra-like synthetic hegemonic currency best provided by the public sector would help end the dominance of the dollar as the global reserve currency. It would, he proposed, also be a better option than another fiat currency, such as the yuan, ultimately replacing the USD. In the longer term, we need to change the game. When change comes, it shouldn't be to swap one current hegemon for another, Carney said in a speech at the Jackson Hole Symposium 2019. He will step down from his BOE role in January 2020. The Libra project, led by Facebook and backed by a group of 28 major firms, including Uber, PayPal, and Visa, aims to launch a stablecoin representing a basket of fiat currencies and government bonds. Responding to Carney, Simon Potter, who was until recently executive vice president and head of the markets group at the New York Fed, said that the case had no argument to support it and doesn't take into account the benefits of the dollar's international role. At an event in New York yesterday, Potter said, quote, I see no argument that makes sense to have something that complicated out there when you have large liquid capital markets in the U.S. Not having one currency that you can basically price things and have a deep market in, that makes my life much harder for the global economy. And the piece continues, while it's probably unlikely that central banks of England would work together on a shared digital currency, Potter said there's the risk that private firms will, and that should be a concern to central banks. While national monetary sovereignty is designed to protect people and get good outcomes, companies are more interested in selling products, he argued. So this goes back to the whole concept of, will a cryptocurrency at one place, at some point in time in the future, become the true global reserve currency? Will it replace the role of the U.S. dollar in this capacity? Well, I'm of the mindset, I don't know. I'm not going to rule anything out. And I will say this, regulators in the United States are aware of that particular concern, but have publicly stated that they don't believe there's anything of the sort is going to happen anytime soon, and I tend to disagree. I mean, we're so early. The asset class, it's so nascent that every single cryptocurrency out there just moves in tandem price-wise with Bitcoin. That's how immature this market is. We're nowhere near being in a position where a cryptocurrency it would be replacing the United States dollar as a global reserve. It's just not happening, not anytime soon anyway. If it ever did happen, I wouldn't be surprised if it were decades and decades and decades from now, or maybe not even in our lifetimes. I don't know. We'll see. But you can tell me what you think below. And please, somebody tell me if I got the whole OpenCoin Ripple Labs Ripple thing wrong and the timing of it. I'm going to have to do some Googling after this anyway. But if I did get it wrong, I apologize. But thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all the support. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!